Good afternoon, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. I'm your host, Jay Farrow.
And I am Janine Davis, your co-host. Welcome, everybody. I want to let you guys know that our producer pointed out to our very talented co-host here, Jay Farrow, that he was smiling. And we were talking about how Jay's really good at what he does, and the chair that he holds as the lead attorney in this law firm. That lofty goal is to innovate law and all kinds of different things, and the niche of civil racketeering makes it so that smile is often a frown or a furrowed brow. So it's just nice to see a one Jay Farrow smiling.
The word of the week is team.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree with you wholeheartily. Team
Building
indeed.
a team. I'm smiling for a number of reasons. Probably the best week that we've ever had. Probably the best week I have had in a very long time. Not that it's ever. I would actually say like this: the fulfillment that I'm feeling is stronger than it's ever been. I got some really good news from my doctor today. I'm going to be spending time with my nephew this weekend, and I'm getting married.
Yay.
Finally.
All of those things are good. Like such good news. True. So many things.
And our business is really starting to come together in a cohesive team. And we've been spending so much time on policies and procedures and excellence and drafting and redrafting and researching and speaking to lawyers all around the country with the work that we're doing and getting all kinds of input and feedback, and still getting the feedback from the other side, with their cranky.
Let's put it like this.
Crankiness.
It's the proverbial read between the lines. This is what we're getting, people. Read between the lines, if you will. And that's to be expected.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is to be expected. So anyway, we're here to help you create the life that you want, starting with the life that's right in front of you, and step by step building whatever business or personal model or role or person that you want to be. And over the last year and a half, Janine and I have sat in these chairs, and I'm sure that people have seen us who have been following us, where there's not a smile on my face on a Friday afternoon or on your face. Because you're running a business and you're faced with the challenges. I thought of this today, though, when I was working out this morning, and it was a very difficult workout. There was a moment that I thought about, this is what growth feels like. And so when I'm at work and I feel a challenge coming on, or a phone call that didn't go the right way, or a court hearing that I could have done better at, or all of those things are challenges. All of these things that I have in my day are the weights that I get to lift to grow into the human being that I want to grow into.
Right.
So it was a very powerful week. I think we said last week that our business was 5 times the amount, or 5 times the size that it was 2.5 years ago.
Let's clarify. The expenses are commensurate with the size.
Right.
and that's not a bad thing. It is a sign of growth.
So we have been looking to hire, and that's been an interesting exercise. We have
It has.
Yes. And we've been looking to expand our operations, and that's also been a very interesting exercise. Looking for uh, all other, I guess what I'm trying to say is our core team has now come together in such a powerful way that it's starting to attract other people on the periphery. Even other lawyers that we've been working with for some time, our experts that we've been working with, they're starting to see that, hey, you're giving us a lot more than what we thought, and maybe there's a bigger conversation of joining the team in some way. We've also built team with our clients, and that team is really what makes the dream work.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And it's what I like about what I would like to say about when as we are expanding the team, it has allowed me and subsequently us to go through the exercise of what do we stand for? What are we doing here? And gaining clarity on the business, like reconnecting to the vision of the business that we're creating and why, and
So
how it can be, um, how it's really different and how it's very novel. And I love being involved in something like that because it really gets the juices and the creativity going. And it's something that is really important to me because as we spoke about at the beginning of the segment, uh, a lot of times there is no smiling because the work is heavy and it's even I'm not the attorney, but I feel it. I absorb all of it. I think about how we're going to go from point A to point B and all of these different things. And I don't smile that much either because it's I take it, I really feel it. So that being said, though, what's been great is our week didn't start out so great to be actually to be accurate, um, because there was a lot of tension, and your tension and my tension met, and you know, but it yielded a conversation that then yielded the events for the rest of the week and the cadence of how the rest of the week could go because we were open. So things started opening up for us. And again, circling back to talking to the candidates, it's a great opportunity to revisit the commitment that I have personally to this business and our commitment to really being a premier law firm that kind of goes to its own tune.
what I encountered was a plateau. I felt that I had achieved what I had wanted to achieve as far as optics.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I recognized in that moment was this is great. And that lasted for about 3 seconds. And then it's like, now what? And my
That's it.
frustration is, okay, I now have the confidence to say that I know that we can create whatever we want to here in our business. Great. But what does that look like? Because unless I know unless I have a picture of what that looked like, unless I know where I'm going, I'm not even interested in going there. It's
Yeah.
like otherwise, I'm just on a treadmill going
Yep.
absolutely nowhere. And while I'm okay being on the treadmill and it does its trick of giving me the endorphins and everything else like that, there's no direction. And when I felt this way, maybe for maybe a few weeks, it dawned on me that my frustrations, my tension was within. What am I doing? What is this all for? Because if I can do anything that I want, great. What do I want to do?
Yeah.
And why do I want to do it? What gets me out of bed in the morning? And I've been more excited in the last few days than I ever can remember to get out of bed for work. And I've always enjoyed it. But when the team came together And then there was that feeling like there's wind at my back. Question came up for me was, what really do I want here? And so,
Yeah.
we've set some time aside for us to discuss that and to discuss, what does this mountain that we're going to climb look like? And I hope that I never run out of mountain, because this
Right.
morning I was thinking about how all of those challenges I go through, and I look back and I'm like, wow, that was awesome. And while I was in it, I was like, I don't think I can make it. All these conversations come up. So now it's like, I have the opportunity that I never thought that I'd have, to completely design the world that I want to live in, with all of these wonderful tools and a team behind me that believes in the vision of creating a law firm that disrupts the practice of law with respect to
Yeah.
the Bill Lauer concept, which seeks to get all sides to a table sooner rather than later, to save both time, money, sleepless nights, being available to clients on such a personal basis that they feel like they have team in their life.
Yeah.
All of these things, and you think about, what's going to get me out of bed? What is
Hmm.
it about what I do that gets me out of bed? And so that's what, and that's what I think frustration can come from as an entrepreneur is, yes, you can do it, but now what? Or you hit the plateau of the goal that you were thinking about, you hit it in record time, and then you think to yourself, well, this wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Maybe you didn't know where you're going to begin with, because I knew kind of where I was going, and we're here. But as far as designing it and saying, okay, true business plan, in 6 months, we're going to be here. In 1 year, we're going to be here. In
Hmm.
2 and 5, and then whatever it looks like after that. With
Yeah.
all of the bells and whistles, with maybe some contingencies, but really, what exactly am I creating? Something that I really want to create. And that's in every aspect of my life. But just sticking with the business right now, and hopefully to support some of our entrepreneur friends out there. Sometimes you got to check in and think, do I
Yeah.
really know where I'm going? Because I'm sure that you have all the energy and the tenacity in the world to keep on going, and you think that you're brave, you're handling all these issues, but then you look around, it's like, wait, what is this all for? When am I ever going to be able to have X in my pocket to be able to go someplace when I really want to, or to do that travel that we all talked about when we became entrepreneurs?
Yeah. Or that extra, you know what when you talk to entrepreneurs, everyone's like, I want to work for myself and own my own time. The dirty little secret is that doesn't happen for a while. Okay. That does not happen for a while. I mean, I work more now, and I've always worked a lot, but I work more now than I ever have, ever in my life. Granted, it is different because it is for myself, or, for a vision of my own. But yeah, I think we get to tie in and remember our desire and chart a course. And it's never done, because you're always reinventing yourself, or you're growing as a human being, and so the mountain gets bigger, or it changes shape, or something happens, and it's really important to do the exercise that we're about to do, to keep that connection, to check in with yourself, to make sure that that's the mountain, because it could be a completely different mountain if you're not careful. So it's really about being present and aware in your own life, and not drowning in the grind. Because I think that what we were experiencing was, yeah, we got here and now we're shackled in a grind. But it's perception, and it's up to us, because the truth is that our circumstances on or what comprised the grind on Monday is not necessarily different
No,
today.
it's the
But
shift in
we're
perspective of
correct. Exactly.
it's the shift in
Exactly.
that perspective of it's grind or purpose driven
Yes.
action.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't hurt as less. This
Right.
is as just as challenging, but you can call it a grind if you don't know where you're going. And I can understand
Yeah.
if you're just trudging this river through, it can feel that way, especially if there's no fulfillment on the other side.
Correct.
And there's times where I could care less what the perspective is. It still sucks to go
Mm-hmm.
through.
Yep.
Embrace
Sure
the suck, because that's part of the joy of doing all of this. Now I'm going to give my little plug for meditation.
Yeah.
I've gotten up to 1,400 minutes on Headspace from over
What
the
does that
summer.
mean? Break that down for us. What does
20
that
minutes a
actually
day,
mean?
just about 20 minutes a day, 6 days a
Okay,
week.
okay.
It's in the morning, right before my workout, and it's right now the program on Headspace has me on this pro level 6, and it's sitting in silence for like 20 minutes, but it gives some instruction about what you're looking to experience. In other words, letting go, forgetting about this concept of self or me or my, and experiencing your experience in the moment and being present. It really is an exercise in presence. Since I have been meditating, I mean, my peace of mind has increased exponentially. I will not, if I can help it, not miss a day of meditation, even if I miss a day of going to the gym. So I just wanted to say that the plug is like for anybody out there who hasn't added that as a practice, I highly, highly recommend it, just as much as I recommend the way that you eat or the way that you treat your body as far as workouts are concerned.
Right, and I think that it's not an accident that people who live successful lives, and I'm not talking about just monetary success. That's a component. It's not the component. But we're talking about people who are at the top of their game, physically, emotionally, leaders in what they're doing, thought leaders in the world. They all talk about meditation. So it's no accident. It's like, and they tell you point blank, it's secret sauce. And so I think it's interesting to share everybody's individual experience with meditation, because it's not recommended by accident. I think it's really a practice that makes a material difference in how you experience life.
So where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? That's such a great question. I think that when you attach
I'm not just talking about the show. I was just saying in general. So that was it. It's like, okay, so where do we go from here? And if you take the concept of this massive action, so we have committed to spend some time on just doing that, creating the business plan. And for the entrepreneurs that we've worked with over the last couple of years, we've noticed one thing consistently, is that nobody has these things, or very rarely do they have them. And if they do have them, they don't follow them. But the exercise itself of designing where you're going, and then committing to somebody else that you're going to do it, is the secret sauce for achieving the things that you want to achieve. It's going to be an interesting conversation when we get there about, like, what does this look like, and making sure that it's butt puckering, because I know that my mountains, the ones that I really, really want to climb, I mean, there's going to be danger. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be some ledges and some rain and some hurricane force winds.
We would have it no other way for you, my dear Jay. This is so no, for sure. And you know what? It's interesting. I think that for me personally, I've really, one of the things that I've experienced is allowing myself to be as ambitious as I truly am. And again, it's not only about a monetary reward ambitious. It's ambitious of curiosity to what is possible to create, and employing employing the actual creativity to dream big enough, to live my dreams out loud. So I think that that's kind of like what it's like to me. So there, I know for sure for me to be fulfilled, it will include mountains. It will include some edge and I don't know, maybe some hurricane force winds, but probably because that's, actually we express it in a different way, but that is part of what I like in my life too. Um, Not an arduousness or a difficulty, but certainly some excitement, challenge, and adventure.
So I was talking to my coach a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, even a couple months ago before that, about trends. Every choice that you make starts a trend, whether it's the trend in the world that you want to live in, or it's a trend in the opposite direction. So for the last month, I've said some of my biggest wins are with the trends of I've turned off the news. I've not looked at my phone 75 times a day trying to figure out who's going to say what next on CNN or Fox News.
Mhm.
I've cut out that stevia stuff. Not to say that it's bad. I don't know if it's bad, but it seemed to me like I was overdoing it. And I've not had an abusive relationship with sugar, which has been, one of those three things I think were really distracting me from not so much Steva. I don't blame you. Okay, I still kind of love you. I'm not saying that we're not going to have a relationship in the future, or that I'm not going to have a little bit of you in my shake tonight. But I'm talking about the sugar and the news, because it was just a major distraction. I noticed that my Facebook posts were starting to get into like the masks and the politics and the things like that, because I was just watching this stuff all the time, and I was starting to think that it actually mattered. When I say this, I want to be very, very careful. It matters what's happening in politics, there's no doubt. But unless Washington's going to call me for a solution, saying, "Hey Jay, listen, man, we got this thing, with Iran," and I don't know, we've been calling everybody, but you picked up the phone. I'm going to stay in my lane. And I had this thought this morning, is that if we all stayed in our lane and just did the best job we could for that day, and that means living by the golden rule and actually giving a shit about your fellow man, everything else would pretty much take care of itself if we all lightened up and actually did the right thing, like cared for other people, considered other people, added compassion, all of those things. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me make news this way. I'm going to be the best I can be today for myself and my fellows, and that will hopefully naturally transmit into other people. And let's spread that news around, and that be the headline, is like, I'm going to be the best that I possibly can, and I'm going to treat everybody with respect in the way that I want to be treated. So if this makes any sense, there's this thing called a distraction, and there's this thing called a seduction, and a thing called an addiction. And a distraction is if you look at your phone a couple of times a day, and this could be for any distractions that anybody has. I mean, there's all kinds of them,
Right.
between alcohol,
Sure.
drugs, sex, or CNN. I mean, it's a distraction. But if you can't stop scrolling, like I couldn't stop scrolling to the next story, the next story, the next story, it
Yeah.
becomes a seduction. And then if
Sure.
I'm doing that consistently over time, such that like 2 hours out of my day are looking at CNN, I'm in my car. I'm like, I need to see the breaking news on CNN in my car. I mean, could you
Right.
imagine that? 30 years ago, I was just getting cable television, and now I'm scrolling through something while I'm driving an automobile, checking, what's going on in Washington. So I think that I have, again, my biggest wins, been able to shift that focus into the work that I'm actually doing, and I've been the most productive that I've ever been in the last few weeks, even more from when the COVID lockdown started, where I found myself to be the most productive I've ever been. It's a process, and it's like yoga. It's like working out. Your mind gets to get used to the amount of weight that it's lifting in one day. And the next day, and the next day, the next day, it starts to progress. It's exactly
Yeah.
the same thing. To expect your
Correct.
human being to walk into a business scenario and start doing business a certain way on day one, your body doesn't have the muscle memory. Your mind doesn't have the business muscle memory to be able to perform those tasks. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a couple of years to immerse yourself in what you're doing, and then you'll start to notice the results. I never thought that I would develop this level of confidence and fulfillment by doing the same things that I do every single day, but it's starting to show up, and it's starting to pay dividends. And cutting out the crap of the things that I was feeding my body, the news on Fox News, CNN, that was poisoning my soul. And as long as I'm going to stay in my lane, because what sense was it making for me to read these news stories other than to just distract myself and get myself out of myself?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because you're not the only one who is highly addicted to the news. Highly, highly. Actually, at one point in my life, I was so addicted to the news that I had the phone number of all of the major networks, including CNN and Fox, and I would actually call them for feedback on how they could do it better. I mean, it was intense. It was an intense relationship. Till I realized, this is pretty toxic. I'm not feeling so good. And I usually ingest this before I go to bed. But the interesting part about it is, because you're not alone, and I was not alone back then either, is as much as I do not watch any kind of news, especially local news, because it's bombastic and toxic and all kinds of different things. However, it's rare that I have a conversation with someone who's not trying to vomit the news on me. And the amount of times that I have to tell people, like, thank you for sharing that. I don't watch the news for a reason. We can stop having this conversation right now. I prefer to use my energy and expend my energy and brain power in different ways. It doesn't mean that I'm ignorant. I'm a highly educated person. And if I wanted to know about something, I can certainly look it up. But I don't love the gossipy, nature of factual news and how it's tinged with an agenda. So I don't, but you're not alone. And I am not at all surprised to hear that you continue to report how much better you feel. And look, your smile is back. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. It's a thing. It's a thing.
There's this song about, I was in my early 40s with a lot of life before me. And a moment came and stopped me on a dime. And I spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays and talking about the options and thinking about sweet time. It's that song, Live Like You Were Dying.
Yeah, Live Like You Were Dying.
And every 6 months I get to go for my checkup with my doctor. Talk about like my first team member on my health journey, with my professional team. And for him to say, here's this, you look great, I'll see you in another 6 months. I mean, I get to relive what it was like not to have the freedom to have a life itself for almost 4 years ago. And now, having this terminal disease in remission for almost 4 years, it presences me to how far I've come, how far we've come in building what we've built here. It really is humbling at the end of the day, and fills me with a sense of gratitude that, guys, it's worth it. This journey of putting yourself through the trials that only you can put yourself through for the life that you want is worth it. It's going to take everything that you got, give it everything that you got, and keep on going no matter what. I just feel so grateful today. I can't even, because, seeing my doctor today, he lights up when he sees me, because I'm one of the lucky ones that he's like, it doesn't happen, and so he's very, very proud, and he even bowed to me. Like, it was like and I was like, that was pretty special.
That's amazing. Congratulations, really. it's been a beautiful thing to witness, I must say.
So anyway,
It has
ladies
been
and gentlemen, we will see you next week. We are looking to add some new pictures. Janine, can we commit to doing that for, or at
yeah, in
least,
a few months, I'm completely on board with doing the new pictures.
all right, we'll see what we can do.
Okay,
But
guys,
in the
have a
meantime,
beautiful
everybody,
weekend.
have a happy
Um,
holiday weekend. Be safe.
enjoy, everybody. Be safe.
Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.